long before satellites mapped every mountain and ocean. Humanity believed the unknown lived only beyond the horizon. But the greatest unknown was never distance. It was omission. There existed a map that did not show where things were. It showed where things had been removed. This map surfaced quietly, buried inside a defunct observatory archive slated for demolition. It was cataloged incorrectly, mislabeled as meteorological debris, and nearly destroyed. Its paper was not paper at all, but a thin, metallic lattice infused with patterns that shifted subtly under light. No ink marked its surface. Instead, faint glowing lines traced coastlines that no longer existed, continents erased from history, and cities that had never appeared in any record. Most disturbing of all were the blank regions, perfect voids, places where the map refused to draw anything at all. At the center of one such void lay a symbol repeated nowhere else on the map, a spiral fractured by straight lines, converging inward as if collapsing into itself. The archivists who handled the artifact reported strange effects. Compasses malfunctioned, clocks desynchronized, digital records corrupted themselves without explanation. Within weeks, the observatory was permanently sealed, and far beneath the Earth's crust, something ancient began to stir. Human civilization advanced under a comforting assumption that history was linear and discovery cumulative. That once something was known, it could never truly be unknown again. This assumption was wrong. Across millennia, civilizations had risen not once, but many times. Some were erased by catastrophe. Others were erased deliberately. The map was proof. Cartography did not follow political boundaries or tectonic plates. It followed something else entirely: energy flows, temporal fractures, and regions where reality itself had been altered. The blank spaces were not unexplored. They were edited out long ago. An intelligence older than humanity learned how to remove places from causality, cutting them free from time like unwanted paragraphs from a manuscript. Entire cities vanished without ruins. Entire cultures disappeared without memory. Only the map remembered. The map had been designed not by humans, but for them. One of the map's voids aligned with a modern location, a remote archipelago perpetually shrouded in storms. Satellite imagery showed nothing unusual. Shipping lanes avoided it instinctively, as though guided by an unconscious fear. When the first expedition arrived, instruments failed instantly. GPS collapsed into meaningless coordinates. Radio signals degraded into static carrying patterns, too complex to be random. The sea itself behaved incorrectly, forming waves that folded back into themselves. As the expedition approached the largest island, the air thickened, bending light into subtle distortions. Vegetation appeared frozen mid-growth, leaves suspended as if time had slowed around them. the island's core stood a structure, not a ruin, not a building, a scar. The ground split open into a massive geometric depression, its edges unnaturally smooth. At its center hovered a crystalline obelisk, suspended without support, rotating slowly in defiance of gravity. This was not architecture. It was a mechanism. It was still active, long before humanity learned to write. Another intelligence mapped reality itself. Not stars and planets, but probability, causality, and consequence. They were not gods. They were custodians. Their task was to prevent existential collapse across developing civilizations. When a society reached a threshold of destructive understanding too quickly, it destabilized reality itself, producing paradoxes, temporal fractures, and cascading extinction events. The solution was drastic. They removed the epicenter. Cities where knowledge converged too fast were erased, their influence cut from history, their discoveries prevented from spreading. These removed locations became null zones, places outside normal time. The architects believed this mercy. They were wrong. Erasing a place did not erase its impact. Civilizations built atop missing foundations developed blind spots, gaps in understanding that manifested as recurring global crises. Wars repeated with eerie familiarity. Technologies stalled at specific thresholds. Cultural myths echoed the same lost ideas across continents. Humanity felt haunted because it was. Every erased city left behind a vacuum in causality, and nature despised vacuums. Something else moved in to fill them. Entities born not of matter, but of unresolved timelines. Creatures that existed between probability states, feeding on contradiction and forgotten potential. They did not invade. They emerged. Every null zone acted as a doorway. The map was not a record. It was a warning system. Each glowing line represented a stress fracture in reality. Each blank space marked a containment site. The spiral symbol indicated locations where containment was failing. The architects had not accounted for entropy. Their mechanisms aged. Their systems drifted. Their guardians fell silent one by one. Humanity, unknowingly, began triggering them. Deep-sea drilling pierced containment fields. Particle accelerators brushed against temporal seams. Artificial intelligence simulated probabilities once forbidden to exist. The null zones responded. Across the world, anomalies increased. Time slips, disappearing towns, objects older than the earth itself washing ashore. The map began updating itself. Voids appeared. One null zone resisted erasure. Buried beneath a desert older than recorded history lay a city that remembered everything. Its architecture rearranged itself to preserve data. Its walls recorded events as changes in geometry. Its streets aligned themselves to cosmic cycles. When explorers entered, they experienced memories, not their own, visions of civilizations that rose, flourished, and vanished in repeating patterns. The city had learned from erasure. It evolved beyond the architect's control. At its heart stood a core, a living archive grown from crystallized time. It had waited for humanity not to discover it, but to be ready for it. The city did not offer knowledge freely. It tested. The test was not intelligence. It was restraint. Humanity's greatest threat was not ignorance, but speed. Knowledge acquired faster than wisdom created instability. The city measured patience, cooperation, and the ability to abandon certainty. Those who sought power were lost within looping corridors that reset endlessly. Those who sought understanding were allowed deeper access. The city was not alive. It was adaptive. It had made a decision. Humanity would no longer be protected from itself. Sensing the breakdown of containment, the architects returned, not physically, but as echoes of preserved consciousness. They observed humanity's progress with calculated concern. Humanity had reached the same threshold as the erased civilizations, but something was different. Humanity remembered loss, not consciously, but culturally, through myth, religion, and storytelling, through the instinctive fear of repeating mistakes. The architects faced a paradox. To erase humanity would stabilize reality. To allow humanity to continue risked collapse. The map pulsed brighter than ever. The null zones began failing simultaneously. Time distortions merged. Forgotten cities flickered into partial existence. Ghost architectures overlaid modern landscapes like shadows. Reality destabilized. The architects executed their final protocol. They dismantled the system. The map burned itself blank. Every containment field collapsed at once. Erased places returned not fully, not safely, but enough to reintegrate history, missing mass. The shock nearly tore reality apart, but it held, barely. Aftermath reshaped civilization. Humanity gained fragments of lost knowledge without mastery over it. Technology advanced unevenly. Some discoveries were abandoned deliberately. Others were sealed by collective agreement. The idea of limitless progress died quietly. In its place emerged something new: intentional evolution. The map was never seen again, but sometimes, in regions where the air feels heavier and the stars seem closer, faint glowing lines